applause, everybody. Everybody clap it up for my friend and my brother, Denzel Rodriguez, everybody. Come on, show him some love. Yeah. Come on, everybody.
All right. This wasn't planned. This wasn't planned. That's the Holy Spirit working. We just in sync. In sync. That's how I've been feeling this whole week so far. Have y'all feeling like you're in sync? Yes, my goodness. Some good stuff. If you don't mind, in the back, Ms. Robinette, if you can pull up the links that I sent. What I want to do before we dive into this deep session, provide you guys with action steps. I think it's very important that you've been taking in a lot of information. Yesterday, today, we heard different speakers, different financial strategies, philosophies, and it feels like the fire hose is open, right? For some of you, especially if you're new to a lot of this stuff. I'm very big on what does tomorrow look like? What does the next 5 days look like, 7 days, right? It's nice and cute to have your big, audacious goals, right? To get the bag, right? You guys heard that term before? The bag, big, audacious goals. It's cute to have all that. What does your day-to-day look like? When I'm working with my clients, when I'm on the 1-hour phone call with them, I'm looking at from this call to the next 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, right? How much can we cover in that 1 hour, strategizing on the next couple weeks, maybe months, just depends on how far we go. I think if we're able to take what we're learning here today at this free financial freedom event conference and those watching online at home, you're able to tap into, okay, this has been great. I learned a lot. I got nuggets here, nuggets there. Here are my takeaways. What are my action steps that I need to take to move forward? Who can I strategize with? Who can I get in accountability with? Like Stephanie has an accountability partner now, right? So what I would like to do, take a few minutes, if we can, because we're nice and close to each other, if we can go maybe 5-6 minutes or less to communicate with someone that you haven't met yet, right? Just if we can, a couple minutes. I want to spark some networking, some engagement, and I want you to share with them your name and one takeaway that you've gotten from this event so far from a speaker, whether it was me, Kelly, Larice, the person that just came up, whom I didn't get a chance to meet yet, so I have to connect with her, right? Quick 5 minutes. Is that cool? Right? Let's do that. Remember, share your name. Share your name. One key takeaway. Robinette, can you go to the YouTube link? I want to hear some key takeaways. So if we can get a mic runner. If someone would like to share their key takeaway, just raise your hand. takeaway. You want to share? Let's get a mic to her real quick. All right, let's bring it to a close. Bring it to a close. All right. Give us your name and then key takeaway. Oh, the mic's not working. Let's get that mic on. Testing 1, 2, 3.
Hello.
There we go.
Hi, my name's Melinda Milling.
Hi,
I'm
Melinda.
from the Akron Church. My takeaway from all of this was to invest in myself before I spend money crazy, or so I can have more money to spend crazy. But do it more wiser and to be a good steward over what I do have.
Okay. Let me get another one. Another person like to share?
Okay, I'll go next. My name is Cynthia Robinson, and
Hi,
I'm
Cynthia.
a part of Akron campus. And one of my main takeaways was I need to quit wasting money. I don't have to have any more pairs of shoes, any more cute tops, and listen to my husband, which is very, very frugal. Thank you.
Okay, before you go, how serious are you about that?
I'm very serious. We already went home, took my bills, and looked at the ones that weren't at zero interest that he'd been telling me about, setting up those auto payments that he'd been telling me to do on my credit cards. He doing everything else. At least I could pay my part. Thank you.
Okay. That you're talking about your spouse, right?
Yes, my spouse.
Okay. In this situation, you guys hold each other accountable on finances, but is there another person outside of that? Because I know when we're in a relationship, sometimes y'all cheat with each other, right? On your finances. So is there
Probably.
is there someone in this room that you trust, that you're close to, that you can say,
I would have to charge our pastor for that.
ask pastor?
To keep us, yes, Pastor Mark.
Oh, okay, but
say a little something to us to make sure we're on
I
task.
know he's got a big, crowd to cover. Is there someone in here today because they've been experiencing what you've been experiencing? That's what I'm trying to get at here, to additional accountability. Person next to you?
Renee can hold me accountable.
Renee can hold you accountable?
Yeah.
Are you willing to take on that role? Okay, so it's just one person, you're responsible for her. When she tried to sneak around to get them pair of shoes, right? You got to hold her accountable, right? So I think that would be great. So waste management is a good key takeaway. And then let's do one more. One more. Anyone else like to share? One more person. Let's get a mic over here.
I know about the finance and everything. My grandfather taught me at the age of 12. So
Beautiful.
I'm disciplining myself right now, and I give myself the next 3 to 6 months that I'll have all my credit cards paid off.
So say the takeaway. What was the takeaway for today? Or the event was a key takeaway? Because that sounded like a goal that you're setting for yourself. 3 to 6 months, right? Pay off them credit card debts. But was something that you took away from this event that can help you achieve that goal?
Everything. I mean, I learned so much in these last 2 days that I've learned in a lifetime. Just
One thing.
with the housing and, I mean, everything, life insurance, everything. I mean,
Pick one. Give me one. Right, it's the fire hose. Give me one takeaway, like that really struck out to you. You're like, I'm gonna take this home with me.
The cryptocurrency, I do know a little bit about it, and the concept that you had too as well. It was
So the velocity banking
yes,
concept.
yes,
Okay,
I really like that concept as well. Yes.
like it. I like it. Okay, great. Appreciate that. So my goal for the next couple hours here, it's 2:27. I think around maybe 3-ish, we'll take a break. I want to discuss action steps for the next few minutes here. Then I would like to do maybe 1, 2, maybe 3 case studies. And here's how we're going to do it in order to go fast, okay? You've got to know your numbers if you raise your hand. And I'm not being rude, right? But don't tell me your life story, right? Now we're going to get serious, right? You've gotten to know me a little bit. We're getting acquainted, right? It's been cute. Day 1 was cute. Now, day 2, we're getting even more deeper into it, where we're putting our emotions aside and we're getting right into the mechanics, right? So when you give me your numbers, not that I don't care, right? I care for you, but it is not a main concern whether you played this and, oh, my husband did this, and then, you know, because I got this going on and put all that to the side. Just say, Denzel, I pay this much. These are my total expenses. This is my total debt. I want to know interest rates, monthly minimum payment, the debt balance, what it is, and we're going to dive right into it, okay? And then the last maybe 45 minutes or so, I'm going to present to you what is called a cooperative procurement opportunity. A cooperative procurement opportunity, CPO. And it is an opportunity inside the kingdom to create massive amount of wealth in a short period of time with collaboration of many churches all around the globe, right? So that's going to be a very, very exciting opportunity. Yesterday we discussed ecclesiastical jurisdiction, right? I exposed you to another physical kingdom, right? A physical, structural system with laws, ethics, business practices, et cetera, that we can actually experience here on earth while living, right? And how we can operate in the world but not become of it, while also leveraging the tools and resources that are in the world. Like we talked about yesterday, having the keys to their kingdoms, right? There was a scripture that I had mentioned about how we're supposed to go out and baptize them, all the nations, be a testimony unto the kings and queens, right? I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, but essentially, and then I asked the question, how do you get in the room with a king if you don't have the right clothing, so to speak, the right qualifications, the right credibility, the right, stature? You have to speak their language, right? We have to almost not forfeit our culture in any way or our foundational principles, but we have to be able to speak their language. Their language is amone, right? Dinero, money. That's what they speak over there in commercial jurisdiction, in the world. How do we get access to the wealth of the wicked is laid up for the righteous? So how do we talk to the wicked, right? How do we have a clear, open, honest, transparent discussion with someone that is wicked, non-believer? They don't believe in your faith, your principles, yet we're ordered and instructed to love them and to help them. You have to help your enemy. Like, that is part of the mandate. So how can I get in a room with, say, the LGBTQ community, right? How can I get in the room with a bunch of Hindus, right? How can I get in the room with these Asian dynasties that exist? How do I get in these rooms where things are going down in the world? These people are making the decisions that allow you to exist and operate here in the United States. How do I get in the political rooms? How do I talk to a Democrat and a Republican and a liberal and a far left-leaning and a far-right conservative, America, with their AR-15s? How do I get in those rooms, right? We have to, be able to have these conversations, spark interest. We want to provoke them to operate how we do, just like they provoke us every single day and tempt us to convert to their ways. We know, right? All throughout this conference, we're discussing the spiritual side, how everybody in here is saved, born again. Great. I'm not arguing any of that, right? We're not touching too much on that because you got that down packed. I want to discuss the mechanics, right? So can we go to the links? If you can go to my YouTube channel real quick. Just some actionable steps. Click on that on the YouTube one. Perfect. And then click on playlists right there. I'll come on this side. So if you are brand new to the velocity banking concept, that right there, it says Velocity Banking pregame work, right? You don't have to click on it. You go to my YouTube channel, that's my name, Denzel Napoleon Rodriguez, right? You can type that in, or just Denzel Rodriguez. I'll be the first to pop up. Maybe Washington, right? I compete with him all the time on YouTube. So Velocity Banking pregame work is for those who are like, yeah, I like the concept. I think I can implement this. I got some work to do. I get my credit going. That right there, from a kingdom perspective, right? Matter of fact, open it up so I can show you like the titles, right? And you don't have to hit play. First video says, what is your relationship with money? Second video, preparing to build your kingdom. Now, that video was created prior to my understanding of how we're supposed to be building the kingdom, okay? From the moment I started my business in 2018 and right up to like the pandemic, I have been educating people how to build individual kingdoms, right? So this is me being vulnerable, fully transparent, open and honest. I'm a baby in Christ. I'm learning the word, all that good stuff. I was teaching people how to create individual kingdoms, which is not necessarily a bad thing. It's just not the right thing. Agreed? There is a collective kingdom that God created for us to enjoy. When you start getting individual ownership, right, into the world, you're no longer kingdom, you're building empire. You're building in their world, not God's jurisdiction, okay? Then it talks about basic facts about money, foundations, understanding your credit score in their kingdom, okay? Knowing your numbers in their kingdom, commercial jurisdiction, velocity banking, calculating your expenses, right? So come out of that. Let's go hit the back button at the top. Look at that kid. What the heck's going on? So now if you want to spend some time on really just learning about the different case studies, right? We did a couple of case studies, right? Let's say you're, okay, I'm a little bit more advanced. I'm ready to take the next action step with my finances. But you're like, Denzel, how do I get the line of credit? How do I get the debt tool, right? The only way to really practice velocity banking, you need to have that tool from the bank. Line of credit, credit card, HELOC, all-in-one loan, business line of credit. There's a playlist right there, 18 videos, all about the line of credit, okay? Then the playlist right next to it, all about the infinite banking concept. That was touching on life insurance, how you individually, how you can create your own banking system in your household. And then I'll touch on how we can create a bank via the Light Church, let's just say, right? How the Light Church can create a banking system, right? That is solely owned and operated by the ecclesia, which gets its power from God himself, authorizing the Light Church to operate, right, as a banking system. And you have to be in the kingdom, right, to receive the services, right? So it's a matter of the church serving its members of the ecclesia. It's like a corporation, right? It serves its people, and then it provides services, right? The church, if we all came together, we could all become, say, coaches or service providers in the things that we do to the world, and then the revenues and profits, we can collectively come together in commonwealth, right? Where you own nothing, I own nothing, it's all God's. We all agree to that in covenant. Bum, bum, bum. We write it down, we plan it, we formulate it. We have business meetings on a weekly, annual, biannual, quarterly basis, and we discuss these things. How can we generate revenue and profits through your skills, gifts, and talents? Oh my goodness, I get excited about that stuff. Right? I'm like, yes. How can, man, the 30, 40 people in this room, how can we come together, right, in common unity, use each other's services, right? I'm going to give you an example of how I operate my business, right? That was one of the things that I wanted to talk about yesterday, how I am learning to operate my business from a kingdom perspective, but also recognizing the jurisdiction that I operate in, which is the United States. And being fully transparent, these are my numbers, okay, of 2022. So far to date, I just checked my numbers. You got to know your numbers. I mean, down to the penny. I have apps and everything that can do it for me. So this is how much I've generated so far in revenue from January 1st to June 25th today. 135,237, so already breaking six figures, love it. Divide that by 6, my average income per month, $22,539.50. This is how I need you to know your numbers, okay? My expenses, I rounded up, right? I overestimate on my expenses, 15,000, debt, 0. Love it. Love it. Debt-free man you're looking at, okay? Cash flow on average, $7,539.50. And we're going to talk about some financial opportunities in the marketplace and things of that such. But what I want to share with you, if you, you know what? Yeah, we'll go to the board real quick, and then I'm going to share with you another link. I'm going to share with you 2 separate jurisdictions, right? How you could be providing services to our people, right? There's some stories in the Bible on how God was instructing the Israelites to kind of come together. I think when you look at the 12 tribes of Judah, there was one specific tribe that were priests. What was that tribe? The Levites? Okay, so they were instructed to gather the tithes and offerings from the other tribes because they would travel from all different locations. Is that accurate? Do I have that correct? Good? Okay. So they collected the tithe and then they dispersed it, did they not? To the other tribes. And then there's also things about lending with each other, charging 0 interest. If your brother is in debt to you after 7 years, you wipe it out, all these different things. So that's how we can operate here. When you're out in the world, have a blast. Charge all the interest you want. Well, not necessarily. That's probably not biblical. I'll take that back. You charge an ethical rate. Like, let's put it at that. You do charge something. You're creating a profit because you're operating in their jurisdiction where there's taxes, fees, inflation, devaluation of currency. You have to map all of that. There's business operational costs and things like that. So I'm going to share with you in terms of how I operate as a financial consultant first / coach / mentor. All right, Kelly? Doing all 3. I've been learning a lot from Kelly on coaching, kingdom coaching. I am a strategy guy, right? You can tell me your life story all day on the phone. I'm waiting for the moment where you stop talking and I ask you a question. So what are your numbers? Like, this is something that I had to learn with my clients, but I would have grown men and women tell me about their divorces, people dying in their family, and the struggles that they face and all this stuff. And I'm like, I have this ability to kind of go numb, not because I don't care, because I am genuinely concerned about your financial positioning. I could sob for you. I could cry with you, but it's not going to get the job done, right? So I will wait. I'm patient. I'll wait. You've already paid me. And I'm talking to my people at home watching. You already paid me. For the moms that I've worked with, the hundreds of moms, they will tell you, oh yeah, Denzel, he'll tell you. You could tell him his whole story, but you stop talking, he'll be like, so what are your numbers? Oh, okay. Like you just got done telling me your husband passed away and all this stuff happened. I get it. I want to solve this first, and then I want to get to know you on a deeper level. And it's like this reverse way of engineering how you're going to operate. So in my practice, on average, Coach Kelly had it right. Coaches charge between $100, $150 an hour if you're a lifestyle coach. I'm not a lifestyle coach. I'm on the wealth side. So that was a business coaching. That's financial coaching. That was like $250 an hour, right? And if you're dealing with experts in the world, not people in the kingdom, experts in the world, you're looking at 450, 500,000 plus high ticket coaching. It's serious stuff, okay? So I myself, 26 years old, now charging $247 an hour, okay? This is what I charge. Now, let's just run some numbers, you know? Let's look at this. If you want to make, someone give me a number, how much money do you want to make this year? Give me a good number. Thank you. 250,000 divided by $247, that's 1,012 hours of coaching sessions, right? Divide that by 52 weeks, that's 19 hours a week. Divide that by 5 days, 3.8 hours. Round it up, call it 4. Monday through Friday, this is what I do. I probably work 30, 40 hours a week, and I'm charging according to the marketplace, right? This is what the marketplace will pay you if you're a coach, consultant, right? You're a strategist. This is what they will pay. And then the better you become, the rule in expertise is once you've, the rule of 10,000 hours, I forget, the 10,000 hour rule says that once you've done a thing for 10,000 hours, you've mastered in that thing, you're an expert, right? So for the last almost 4.5 years, I've been specializing in velocity banking, infinite banking, debt elimination strategy, cash flow production, managing your money. I've got about 6,000 to 7,000 plus hours. This is working with people, right? This isn't including the time I spend alone. It's like 6,000 plus hours working with people, creating content, creating videos, all that good stuff. So in the next year or two, I estimate by 2024, I will consider myself an expert. I have never called myself an expert, although others may. I wait for that, because that's how you know you're doing something right, when people say, this guy's a genius, expert, guru, right? So I'm allow that to keep happening, and then I'll claim it. And until then you can, say ethically raise your rates, because at that point it makes sense. Oh, this guy's going to do it right. So from that 247, this is going to help the business owners in the room, especially if you are providing services on an hourly basis, right? I believe this will be of pure value to you. And this is a case study, right? I'm incorporating velocity banking in this, business, financial management, all in one, being fully transparent, giving you my very own numbers, how your finance geek operates on a day-to-day. I use Stripe, PayPal, like Kelly was mentioning earlier, use a merchant processing system, okay? I prefer Stripe over PayPal. PayPal charges 3.4% plus a 49-cent transactional fee every time you invoice somebody. Stripe charges 2.9% plus a 39-cent or 39-cent per transaction. Know your numbers. Know your numbers, right? So I'm going to go with 247. We're going to times it by 2.9% plus I'm going to go, I forget, I think it's 30 or 39 cents. So I'm going to do 39 cents. That's $7, right? And 55 cents off the top. Right, so that's 2.9% plus 39 cents. I think it's less. I think it's 30. So 247 minus 755, I net 239.45 when someone signs up for a coaching session with me, or I call this a velocity banking consultation is usually what I call it, or just an initial consultation, right? Because I'm not necessarily coaching you, I'm doing your numbers, right? We're literally mapping the whole thing out. From there, Larice Purnell talked about the 50-20-30 rule. To a degree, I also do that. There's some other concepts out there like the 70-30 rule, the 50-50, the 60-40. Pick one of them. They're going to produce results. So in my case, any and all money that comes into my account, it immediately gets dispersed into different locations so that I don't fall from my discipline, right, into my ways of doing, right, into my own understanding. So I take the $239 that I netted from that transaction, and I take 10% off the top, and I account for taxes, okay? 10% taxes, 10% invest, okay? 10% give, 10% save. So it's this 10, 10, 10, 10. I learned from one pastor, he does a 70-30 where it's just taxes, which I think he considered tithe. So in this case, because I'm running an operation, there's the tax of that jurisdiction, U.S. government, and then there's the tax in this kingdom that you and I both operate in. Whether you believe in tithing or not, right? There's plenty of doctrine, I get it, that talks about, tithing's not biblical. Okay, whatever, right? I don't know. I see so many different preachers and different sermons about tithing being a mandate in Old Testament, which I do believe is true. And then in New Testament, I think it got reaffirmed, but then it was more of like, you do it from the heart. Am I in alignment with you guys here in terms of how you view tithe? Okay, so for me, it's just a principle. I just do it. I like to do it. I enjoy doing it. I don't have no problem doing with it because I know what it yields. So I just account for it, right? 10% is $23.94 from that number. Right, so $23.94, and I write that out 4 times. I'm accounting for taxes of the U.S. government. I will give, or say tithe, to church or churches in my case, because I spend time with different churches. I do have a home church now in South Florida, so I'd be given there and other locations as well. Then I do 10% giving, so that's 20% total I'm giving to the kingdom. The initial 10, and then there's the offering, so that's an additional 10, right? So $23.94, and then I invest and I save, right? I split up those dollars. Now, my savings dollars will go to cash value life insurance. CVLI for short. Lady earlier mentioned on it on whole life, index universal life. I personally have whole life insurance, so I'm just touching on that a little bit. That is how I save money. At 26 years old, I now have $5 million in death benefit. Talk about, insurance is a lot less expensive when you're younger, okay? So this $5 million could be acquired through term, which is really cheap. But in my case, I acquired $5 million of death benefit through whole life insurance. Whole life insurance is more expensive than term in the beginning, but later on, whole life insurance becomes a zero expense, whereas term life insurance doubles, triples, quadruples as you get older when the term expires, right? Kind of like your mortgage. When it's paid off, it's paid off. With whole life insurance, when you've paid it up for the allotted time that you scheduled it for, right, with specifically designed whole life insurance for high cash value, minimum premium expense, you can set the time, the amount of money that you want to fund over a period of time, and then when that time is over, it's completely paid up. So in my case, I have 2 whole life policies totaling $5 million. If I were to pass away today, boom, $5 million tax-free paid out to my people, okay? Now, if I pass away in my late 90s, this $5 million, because of how this whole life insurance policy is designed, this will become over $10 million. What's 1% of $10 million? Anybody know? Do the calculator real quick. 100K. Let's say you and I engage in more relations together, and I come back and we made this a consistent thing, and then I feel it upon my heart, which I already do, to give the Light Church 1%. Hey, what's 2%? What's 2% of 10 million? What's 3%? What's 4%? What's 5%? What is 5% of $10 million? Right? Like that scratches the surface. So when I'm old and gray, and then I have I like the word he used, upon my demise, the Light Church receives $500,000 from a stranger. At first, no longer will be a stranger, right? I'm in your realm. Isn't that pretty cool? That's how life insurance can potentially work. You put it in the beneficiaries. I can go home and I can update my beneficiary to put the Light Church. Right? A couple percentage points, right? If I'm feeling real bold, I don't know, I can go higher. Because the way that I operate, this is extra. Right, Mr. Howard? This is extra on top. I'm already dead. $10 million, I want that dispersed to every location I've ever impacted. Because I'm like, I like how God operates. He's all about his reputation for his name's sake, right? So I'm like, yeah, Lord. I wanna update my reputation for your reputation. Because if I have a bad reputation, Lord, in your kingdom, doesn't that look bad on you, Lord? So therefore, it is your responsibility, Lord, to make sure I have a good reputation. So I began to put pressure on God when I discovered the kingdom and how it operates. I began to put pressure on the Lord. And really, it's no pressure to him. He's just, that's my little baby operating really well. Look at him. Thinks he's going to do something. Wait till I do something for you. Look at this. Interesting stuff, right? So you account for your merchant processing fee, because if you're going to have a business, you are going to pay this, right? No way around it unless you do the Cash App, Venmo, Zelle thing. But even then, the IRS is coming after you because they're trying to track that too, right? It's 30 cents? Thank you so much. I appreciate that. So I'll just keep that number the same. It's whatever 55 cents minus 9 cents in. You can do the math, but I'm overestimating here, right? Net $239.45, taxes, invest, give, save. Then we go into business operational cost, right? So operating costs. $239.45 times 15% is $35. Okay, your numbers will be different. It costs me 15% to operate my business. Okay. The different business expenses and things like that, I account for 15%. Okay? From there, let's see, what do I have left over? How much percentage? But we got 10, 20, 30, 40, 55. Man, I can't believe I just forgot. There's something else that I do. But you know what? I have video content where I stored all this information in case I forget, right? Because it's important. And what I do with my clients, this is what I love doing, is I will get on, by their permission, I'll get on recorded, so a couple minutes and we're going to take a break. I get on recorded sessions with my clients, and we will document how your behavior is in debt, what you're thinking, your process, things like that, and then how you progressed through the years. Tim, did we do a session together, recorded session before? Can we get a mic real quick for him? Check 1, check 2. Check 1, check 2.
There we go. All right.
Perfect.
Yeah, so I was curious, and I went on your platform last night to kind of look at that date, and that was October of 2020. We had our first recording session. So if anyone ends up signing up with Denzel, he has a bunch of case studies of people that he's worked with, and it's all chronological. So I had to go all the way back to October 2020 to see that. But like I said, I spied on him for a while. I was like checking him out on YouTube and attended some of his lives, and I started out slowly. So it was probably about 6 months before I finally made the commitment and then met with him and got the free session. And then I think it was only 2 months later, at the end of the year, I pulled the trigger on the lifetime coaching he offers.
Beautiful.
So I saw so much value in it. So yeah.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. I appreciate that. You bought me some time. I was able to find what the other thing that I account for, which is your living expenses, right? So I do 30%. The average American, by the way, you're around this number, your living expenses, right? Cost of living. That's your roughly your cost. I think it's gone up with inflation, probably like 35, even 40% if you're in California, right? Cost of living up there is horrendous. Yes, Howard? How's the cost of living in California? See, if y'all ever consider moving, consider that. See how different states operate, right? That's why so many people come into South Florida, because ain't no state tax, if I'm not mistaken, in what we pay. And so there's a lot of other things too that there's different advantages. If you're really like, pro entrepreneurship and you want to look for different states and things like that. So after I'm done with this, we're going to go to break, okay? And I'm pretty much done. So from here, this is accounting for everything in my business operations. I'll add up all these numbers, right? So I take that 71, let me do 2394 times 4 plus 3591. Oh, shoot. 2394 times 4 plus 35.91 plus 71.83. Okay, so that's 203. 203.50. There's another expense that I account for. I do nowadays. The number is over 8%, but the last time I did it was 6%, and that's accounting for inflation, right? Because your cost of everything has been rising lately. So if we just use the number 6%, that's $14.36. So we got 203.50 plus inflation, 14.36. Now we're at 217.86. So that means 239.45 minus 217.86. My profit is $21.59, right? Tim said earlier, yesterday, if you were here, he was like, I don't know how he charges so less for what he does. This is where trust in the Lord comes into play. So when we come back, I'm going to show you how I'm able to operate where I just account for my business to be just profitable. And then depending on what your mission, your vision is, we can coordinate how we want to go about doing certain things. But in my particular practice, this is how I operate in commercial jurisdiction, right? So with that, let's take a break, right? 10 minutes, Pastor? Or it's good? All right, 10-minute break.